the public. And what I found interesting, there were still a lot of questions, even though we seem to know how Hendra virus goes from bat to horse. There were still a lot of people out there asking, like Carol from Hatton Vale, do flying foxes really spread the Hendra virus? As I've heard many different opinions on this, or does any other animal spread it? And I guess, Hume, that's probably your area of expertise. Can we clear that up straight away?
Thanks, Sharon. It's a good question to start with because it is something that continues to come up, not only this year but in previous years, always at least some level of uncertainty or lack of awareness about the role of flying foxes. And I think if I can break it into two parts. Firstly, are flying foxes the natural reservoir for Hendra virus and related viruses? And then secondly, are flying foxes the direct source of infection for horses? So going to that first part, then it's clear and unequivocal that flying foxes are the natural reservoir for Hendra virus in Australia and for related viruses throughout the world. This group of viruses that Hendra belongs to and Nipah virus elsewhere, the Henipaviruses, are clearly a natural reservoir with flying foxes across their geographic range. It's clear not only from our work in Australia but from work of multiple scientists in multiple countries that these group of viruses appear to have co-evolved with flying foxes, if you like. The flying foxes have got a very mature relationship, if you'd like to say that, in the context of the immunology. The flying foxes don't get sick from these viruses, but they do. The viruses do replicate in them, spread through the populations, at sometimes to a greater or lesser extent. So I think that's the first thing. Clearly, we can say that flying foxes are the natural reservoir for Hendra virus. The second question is a little more contentious, and I guess we have a lot of epidemiological evidence that suggests that there is direct transmission from flying fox to horses, and I'll talk about that. The first thing that I might say is that all of the spillover events to horses occur within the distribution of flying foxes, and Hendra cases are more likely to be in close proximity to flying fox roosts than non-Hendra cases. We know also that I'm sorry, I've lost my train of thought. The flying foxes excrete virus in urine. There's the potential for contamination of pasture, for the potential for ingestion of that pasture or material by horses. The other aspect is that we have actually looked at many non-flying fox species as well. So when we first found evidence of Hendra virus in flying foxes, then we didn't just stop there. We looked naturally, as many of the questions have suggested, at a range of other species as well. And we've looked at something like 1,000 individual animals from multiple species, particularly species that coexist with flying foxes, and they were rodent species, they were native marsupial species, snakes, birds, etc., as well as several times that number of insect and ectoparasites from animals, and found no evidence of Hendra virus in any of these other species.
So there's no chance then another species is involved in the transmission chain. We've got a question here from Neil at Ipswich asking about mosquitoes, possums, ticks. They play no role in it whatsoever?
There's no evidence to suggest that, and again, let me just elaborate a little bit. So there are groups of viruses that mosquitoes and ticks can transmit, and these are, and in the human health area, things like dengue virus, and in the equine world, things like equine encephalitis virus. These are arboviruses. These are viruses that have a replicative stage in the mosquito, and they amplify the amount of virus, and then the mosquito can transmit that. Or the tick. Hendra virus is not in that group of viruses. It's in the group of paramyxoviruses, and none of the paramyxoviruses use mosquitoes as an amplifying host, if you like. And to continue on from that, in the context of what we see in the field, if we were seeing mosquitoes as playing a primary role in the transmission of Hendra virus, we would be seeing Hendra spillover events clustered to areas of higher mosquito density, and also to times of year when there are more mosquitoes around. What we're actually seeing is that the majority of the spillover events occur in the winter months, which is a low mosquito time. Similarly with ticks, if ticks were playing a primary role, as I say, apart from the virology aspects, if you like, that I've just spoken about, but if ticks were playing a primary role in the practical sense, we'd be seeing Hendra cases clustered November, December, and around far north Queensland, where we know flying foxes can be affected by ticks at that time. And we're not seeing that. They're not overrepresented in that area.